20 or something like that, or?
Of the LMP?
Yeah, just because I know that it's a steady looking forecast, but I know that in the past, energy rates will fluctuate like crazy, and
That's what I was trying to hammer down with the MPPA, and I had lunch with Brent Henry today and talked with him about this analysis for 20 or 25 minutes because he's like a wizard with putting these things together. He's been doing it for 25 years, and I told him how I went about it, and he says, what you're doing is exactly correct. Unfortunately, the LMP is just, the LMP data that I use for the next 4 years in the 3% increase that he advised me to use is just everything we know right now, our best estimate of the future. Guarantee it won't be 3% every year because I don't think 15 years ago they saw a 50% drop in the LMP between 2008, 2009 and today. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, how do you know 15 years from now what batteries will look like, or renewable or distributed generation, and electric cars could put a huge demand on the market, and all of a sudden there's not enough plant, so it's going to cause the price of power to spike. So this is just what experts believe we can best forecast the LMP to be. I'm sorry, I don't.
yeah.
I mean, it is linear, but
What's your
guess-
recommendation? If you can get it down to 7 cents, 6.5, whatever.
my recommendation, I mean, our meeting's taped and so Victor can watch this, but he is going to be in a tough spot if the Public Service Commission sides with consumers. Because in the initial ruling, they kind of sided with consumers that, hey, it's going to be closer to 5.5 cents. And either he's telling me the truth that he just has to go out of business, or he would settle for a lot lower than 8. So we could have leverage. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think we're in the driver's seat because we don't have to go forward with this. And I think we see, hey, make us your best offer.
Now, do they have to build any, they're on the grid right now, so, they don't have to build any.
No, it'll all be,
One time there was a direct line from there to Lowell.
there would not be a direct line. It would just be all on paper,
Yep.
how things are done with MISO and the MPPA.
So it's really no different than being like part owner of Kalkaska or things like that, where it's one more power station that we are a part owner, or
Yeah,
so to
technically
speak,
we won't be
or-
an owner, but
Right,
it would be
but,
like Granger and Nanner, where we have
Yeah.
purchase power agreements for the renewable energy.
See, to build a coal plant, what is that, 2-3 year project, start to finish?
Probably more than that.
Probably more than that,
That's what
and
you're
I don't think
talking.
any coal plants are
It's
being
gonna be
built
built,
anymore
right,
with
that's
the
what I'm
permitting
saying.
process, right?
Yeah.
So what does the Granger rate cost? Like
A fortune, over 9 cents.
okay,
I would recommend this is 100% no if we knew the biodigester was coming back. With the cost of power that we're paying for that, the foreseeable future, if that ever did come back,
Right.
I could never justify to the board, even though these are small slivers. If you have the biodigester consuming 7 or 8%, and this is another 3 or 4%, you have Granger another 8%, all of a sudden you're at 20% of your supply being significantly more than the market. Customers will really start to see that in their rates relative to other municipals. I think there's room for negotiation, but at the current 8 cents, my recommendation would be no. I don't know how the board could justify to the public that this is worth this much in goodwill. I mean, you'd have to say, we're buying the same amount of power for $1.8 million.
yeah, over 20
I don't know how
years,
many
and
people
that's-
are going to be able to swallow that.
Well, the way I kind of looked at it was in that total you gave after 20 years. That's, the difference of what you said, 1.8.
Yeah, net present value 1.8, but in actual dollars
Yeah.
2.4.
How much?
Yeah, that's a,
You can do a lot of projects for that money.
well, that's what I'm saying. Over 20 years, there's a lot of system, upgrade and maintenance that you'd need to do over 20 years that 1.8 would be beneficial for. I wasn't expecting a value to be that high, that difference, that so-called goodwill difference or whatever, but 1.8 million does a lot of system work.
I'm not necessarily looking at so much as goodwill as being more diverse, having water
Right.
as a renewable, having wind, having the Granger projects. So I don't want to sit there and just say, oh, we're going to do this for goodwill.
Yeah, I don't like the
It's
term,
just-
but
it's being more diverse. My question would be, Steve, is how much, I mean, you know, the demands of the government and everything, and of the public is to continue to increase towards renewable resources. How much are there other dam water projects being built that we could purchase? You know, that we could, like this Pegasus, is there a water project that's going out there and we could, you know,
There's solar.
yeah, they're not
Definitely going to be a lot of
building-
solar projects at competitive prices that don't exceed 5 cents over 20 years. And now that's been a closed session topic, so unless we were in closed session, I couldn't give you more information. But I mean, we will be diversified from the fact that we'll have biogas through Granger and Nanner. We'll have wind through the Pegasus, and there will be the opportunities for this board to enter into solar, purchase power agreements, or investigate local solar and community solar projects. So we will be fairly diversified. Not many people do have hydro in their portfolio, so it'd be a cool thing to say, but I don't think we need to worry about diversification.
okay.
If it gets down to 6.5, 6.75, then does it start to make more sense?
You're still going to see a $1 million+ gap over the 20 years, but I'm more prone to look at it as a percentage of operating expenses. You know, that's why I threw in that line, because that's how I think. I mean, I do see it as actual dollars, and that's how the public's going to see it. But when I see operating expenses go up 1.9%, you could pretty much pass that expense onto somebody's bill. So if you have a customer with $75 bill, or let's say 80 bucks, 2% would be $1.60. So 1.9% would be a little less than $1.60 per customer per month, is how I look at it. Do you see what I'm saying? That operating expense can be a direct pass through to all customers.
Is there, I guess, is there any way to kind of measure the value of the stability of the price compared to the market? Because I know that we even talked before about, like, when we talked about the even billing cycle, like having that predictability and stability of a, you know, this is, if it costs a little more than market rates, it may be worth it knowing that it's a stable rate we can count on for 20 years versus a market rate that could vary.
I imagine there is a way, but right now, we have quarterly hedge plans that come out with the MPPA, and I work with Brent Henry so that we procure enough power so we know the expected price of our power going forward in the next year, 3 years, and 5 years. And then there's approved hedge plan ranges that we've adopted previously. And right now, we have enough power in that hedge range that the MPPA is recommending. So I don't know how much more stability we
Okay.
really want or need.
So just from the Granger,
Yeah, between our coal plants with Campbell and Bell River, between Granger and Nanner, between any bilateral commitments we've made, we already have enough stability that we don't
This
really
won't add
need
a
to
whole
be.
lot of that.
It-
Okay.
I know what you're saying. There is value in having stability, but then you're also stuck,
right,
and you don't want to be too stuck. That's why you have.
then your overhead.
Right, exactly. We would be getting to the point where we would be overhedged.
Okay.
Do we have to go 20 years?
No, a lot of PPAs are 20, and I've even seen 30. I can pose that question. I can pose that question. I can also pose the question, do we really need an inflationary factor?
The 1.5, you mean?
Right. I mean, if we go up to the graph, if you keep that level and we were able to get down to 6.75 cents, or if the inflationary factor is 0.5%, that would make a huge difference. And 1.5% compounded over 20 years compared to 0.5% is going to make a big difference. So I think there's room to negotiate, but I think at the current offer,
I think I'm sensing from the board that we'd like you to go back and see where there's room to negotiate, where there's room, just like you just brought up the inflationary thing. Is there, can you go from 30 years to 10 years? Can you, I guess to explore all those possibilities.
Okay.
And then come back to the board and go, here's the information that I've gotten, and here's our recommendation, or, because I'm gonna take, me personally, I'm gonna take that you're the one that's working with the numbers and everything every day, and again, what you've shown us is great information, but I guess if we go back and say, okay, Victor, he can be watching this, here's where the board's thinking, what are you thinking, and is there room to meet in the middle, or whatever?
Yeah, and I do appreciate that you're willing to take my recommendation in full. But I do see this, and I know you hate the term, but part of it is kind of the goodwill. And the board, I believe, has a responsibility to the citizens to kind of capture that. How important do you think it will be to the public that you represent to say, hey, we're buying power from a dam that we own for 80 years and the river runs right through the community. I'm a accounting person, economics, so I'm kind of always, I'm a Dutchman. So, there will be a point where I feel comfortable, but I would like the board to be completely on board with saying, we think it's at a price point close enough that we can feel good about it, selling this to the community.
For me, the price point's got to get way down there and where it's close to what you can get on, because I look at it as, yes, we did own it once, but it's owned by a gentleman that lives in Brighton, does not have roots here in Lowell, and I think our ratepayers will be looking at bottom line. What's it costing me?
Okay, that's great feedback.
That's
great feedback.
And I think if it was a group in Lowell that owned it, that were paying taxes here in Lowell, living here, I just think all those factors factor into it. So again, and that's where I don't think goodwill is so much. For me, it was more diversity, because if it's going to cost our ratepayers a dime more, I think the majority, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'll get feedback from our ratepayers, which would be good, but I think our ratepayers would be going, I want the as our motto, the least expensive, cost-effective, reliable energy that we can get.
Okay. The other board members feel the same way?
Yeah, I think the historical value, there's not a whole lot of people left in Lowell that are 80 years ago that remember buying power. A lot of homes didn't have the power, so I think that's pretty nil. I've talked to quite a few people in Lowell, and I agree with Barry, they want the least expensive rates that they can personally get. And if he's not willing to budget less than 8 and down to where we think we need to be, I think we just killed the deal.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, go forward, and the lower we can go, the better.
Right.
Somewhere we gotta come to a point where, if we can get within 0.75%, I would think,
Right.
then it's feasible.
Yeah.
Because you're a numbers guy, so you're gonna look at that and you're gonna just close that gap down.
I'm sure he has a price that he's willing not to go below.
Yes, he's got to stay.
But I
with
think,
it.
I am going to follow what the MPSC is saying about this, because that'll give us leverage or not give us leverage.
Right.
Yep.
What do you think? The whole goodwill thing.
I am a history lover, so that's my heart, where my heart's at. However, I don't want to buy something that's already in litigation right now. I'd really like to know how much I understand that he's not in trouble, but I don't want to buy I don't want to buy a problem or buy.
I don't think it-
buy-
The
buy
problem
power
goes
from a
away.
Litigation,
problem.
the
The problem goes
litigation,
away
that
if we
it
get in the
should
meter.
say, they're just arguing between Consumers Energy, what Consumers Energy wants to pay him and what they need to make in order to stay in business. I mean, I don't think, it's not a litigation where somebody did something wrong or anything, my understanding of
correct.
what I read. It's just a litigation of how much we need to make in order
Okay.
to.
All right. I misunderstood
to
that
be
because I
able
was
to-
looking at this thinking, I don't want to buy into a,
No.
No, the litigation pretty would go away.
Yeah, he-
Yeah, because if he were to enter into contract with us, he has no need for consumers, and that his litigation goes away.
okay.
Because it's
So
really
you're probably
it's
happy.
his next contract that they're fighting over is their current 30 years up, and
It's been.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and you're right though, the bottom line is money. However, the landscape is, we're fighting to save a showboat that isn't really afloat. So, that's a piece of history too. So I guess I'm the odd man out that money isn't everything, but, so I'd like to see what you come back to the table and you recommend either yay or nay, and then we can talk from there. I'll look into it further too.
Okay. And if you have any feedback from anyone you talk with within the next month, let me know.
yeah, I guess my thoughts going into this are the advantages were being the stability and the diversification and the renewable aspect. But we're already, as you mentioned, we're fairly well hedged, we're fairly well diverse. We've got enough renewable coming or options available. And so it does make it much more down to a price discussion. The other value though, there's the goodwill term just seems like we're just helping somebody make a business, and I don't know if there's a better term, but let's just call it goodwill for now because it's
Yeah, there is an accounting term for actually goodwill when you overpay
Pay
for
for
something
something.
and
Yeah.
there's this
You're-
intangible value, like a
Yep.
good feeling, not like we're giving them charity.
right. And maybe that's what you kind of call, but part of the benefit strategically of Light and Power is just the whole aspect of local control. And this gives us some measure of local control, and that it's a local power source that is, it would be kind of exclusive to us, if I'm understanding it right. All of power is coming to us.
It may not flow here on the lines though, 'cause
Right.
there's no line. I mean, the electrons in
There's
an
no-
emergency
yeah, so there's
scenario
not-
would go somewhere else.
Else.
Yep,
Likely.
but if we're the sole consumer of his power and it's within a few miles of the community, so it's physically local,
Yes, I understand
we're
what you're saying.
we're the only customer, so we've got a lot of influence in terms of if we don't think he's running the dam right or it needs maintenance, we can, So I think it would give us a certain amount of local control over a small portion of our power. And I think there is sort of that intangible factor of, hey, that's not so much that we built it, but just that, hey, it's a local dam on this river that's part of our network of power. There is that little bit, but again, that is a small amount, and if there was that more greater need for the renewable, the stability or something else, then it might be worth a little more, but at this point, we are basically paying for just, the notion that a power source could be local in the community. But there's other ways to do that too. So yeah, hopefully you can get something favorable that still works for him too, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
So you got your marching orders.
Very good.
Okay.
I appreciate that. It's very good feedback.
Let's move on.
Well, that was it.
The next regular Lowell Light and Power Board meeting is September 14th, and
Yep.
board comments. Mr. Salzweedl, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I was at the city council meeting the other night, and I want to congratulate Steve as he will be representing the city. I forget exactly
The
what.
MERS conference.
Yes, he'll be going out and representing us on behalf of that, so congratulations on that. It was a great choice.
Thank you.
So with that, that's it.
Marty.
I don't have anything.
That's easy.
That leaves up so much more for me. Okay. Tina.
Thank you, Ron, for that presentation. I'm sorry that I came in late on it, but He's
Traffic's
always.
traffic.
Definitely, traffic was horrible. Let's see here. I've got road cleanup. Thank you to the staff here, and Andrew, thank you for representing us. I'm normally not a loser and don't show up for the cleanup because I love doing that. But my hours lately have been really bad, so, but I will show up for the next one and join you guys. Nancy Roth, wow, what time does she start in the morning to do this one day of 78?
Oh, it doesn't even take her the whole day.
No. Yeah.
She
Couple
starts
hours.
Yeah, she starts at 8.
Is this
and
a
is
whole
done by
neighborhood that all like
She's a retired
banded
postal worker.
against?
She knows
Yeah,
She knows
all
where
over
everything is.
town.
Oh my
Yeah, it's-
gosh.
It's every corner.
Every alley, every backyard.
She's so cool.
I've seen her cut through mine. I had to get the other ones.
Let me see, Ryan with trees, thank you for moving forward on that. Safety is first. I'm at 806 Lafayette across the river, and when my husband sees this, he'll kill me, but there's a couple trees out front that are big and beautiful, but I'm afraid that I'd like for you to swing by and let me know if they need to be taken down. I would rather have the trees gone than somebody's life be in danger, or me losing power, because
yes.
everybody knows I like to have lights on all over my house. so.
And the meter show.
Our
Yeah.
favorite customer, Tina.
There we go.
Residential.
Yes.
She's
That's
actually
right.
small commercial.
That's right.
She needs a demand rate.
So with that, I'm out.
Okay. I actually have a few things this time, but, so one, I want to echo thanks to Ron for that presentation on the safety, and I like the attitude towards the safety training. I guess the question I had is it possible to observe some of the training you guys might be doing, or like every time you're doing like a pole rescue or something like that? If it's something that we might, I know sometimes you're kind of like, hey, it's raining, let's go train, or whatever, but if there's,
If we have a scheduled training, they could be sent off to you guys too. I mean, you could sit down on any of them that you wanted to.
Usually do them during the week though, right?
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, scheduled, that's just something that I think might be informative to go see. And just because I've, because of my wife doing the Lowell's First Look, but she's gone to report on some of those fire department trainings been going on, like we did the frozen water training and the rescue and the burning down the house out there in Cascade. And it was just kind of amazing to see and listen to all the fire department, folks who are there training and just their reactions to it. And I know one guy, overheard him talking with a buddy about in the house that was burning. He's like, boy, we walked up there's a tiny little fire they put on the floor, and he said within minutes I couldn't see a thing. He said it was just amazing how quickly smoke fills a room. And this is a firefighter who's been doing this for a while, and he was still amazed and thought, man, those are the kind of things you'll kind of learn in training, that you'll do something, or in the water rescue, how hard it was to hold onto a rope. And these guys are wearing immersion suits, and still you had to hold onto it just right, otherwise you can't hang on very well when you're getting pulled out of the hole in the ice. And I'm sure there's a lot of those things you guys learn in your training where it's, oh yeah, I guess if we did this with a chainsaw, it makes sense, or I don't know what it would be, but that's just where I think it'd be fun just to witness and see what goes on. So if you guys have those scheduled, that'd be good to know. And even for the public, they might like to see some of those too. So there's that. The training was great. I did enjoy picking up the trash, even though it was kind of hot and humid. And I know that I've noted here that the best breeze we got was from passing trucks. It's like a truck goes by, oh good, I could cool off a little bit. But it was really neat. It was good to see people out there just having fun picking up trash. But my favorite part was afterwards we're all done and we're just hanging out in the parking lot. And Steve kind of alluded to this a little bit, that everyone's just hanging out, talking, joking, teasing each other, and then some people even coordinating, hey, can I come over later and help you with this? Or it's just kind of neat to see the staff sort of in their natural social environment, so to speak, and just see how well they really do get along. You don't get to see that very often when they're kind of out of their office but all together still. And the other note I have is, by our next meeting, people will be starting school, so getting back to school already. And as kind of a shameless plug, the PTO does need some volunteers. So anything from a vice president on down to just somebody allocating an hour or two of their time for a certain event. My wife's going to be running the PTO this year, and So if anyone is interested, we definitely need the help because they can't staff all the events they want to do at this point. So if you're interested, contact my wife or me or school or someone. And lastly, make sure you go see the eclipse. It's only a partial here, it's total in other areas of the country, but you don't get to see them that often, and they're pretty awesome.
What day is that?
21st.
Yeah.
I saw my first eclipse. It was a partial eclipse when I was here at Bushnell in 2nd grade. Made a little pinhole viewer in a box.
Oh, Maples, yeah.
And so saw that. I got to see another one in high school in Ann Arbor, and then I was lucky enough to see a total eclipse in Germany when I lived there.
Really?
A total eclipse is just amazing. Like the sky and the color of light is just totally different. But the next eclipses we'll have in the U.S. are going to be 2024 and 2045. So if you don't see this one, you're going to be waiting 7 and then 30 years. So,
Right.
Make me 92.
So even if you're working, just take time to go out and look up. I mean,
None of you
with
guys
glasses
supposed to look
on.
up.
Right, with those little dollar glasses that,
Right.
Don't get the
eclipse
fake
glasses.
ones.
Yeah, don't get the Chinese knockoffs.
We have the black market ones.
There you go.
So that's it.
Okay. I have a couple questions, which roof projects, have they started yet or anything?
We did all the prep work in the last month. Well, Ryan and his department did all the prep work, and everything's off the roof. We're just waiting for Sunray to give us the go at it.
That does look a lot better.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, I was watching
Yeah, I
you
noticed
guys.
it too.
I was up on my roof when you were up on your roof, or on this roof.
Nice.
But we knew it might be September before they'd be
Right.
able to start, because it was like a 12 to 16 week lead time on that.
Another thing,
No.
and some of these things probably don't need to be discussed here, but Riverwalk. Riverwalk had a lot of issues with their power of the vendors that were coming in. And I don't know if we can next year assist them, or, Flat River Electric came down, but they're constantly popping breakers and everything because, again, it's something maybe.
That wasn't on
you-
us though, was it?
No, it's not
Okay.
necessarily on us, but
I
I'm
was
just
just
saying
saying.
that maybe we can help out with the Riverwalk with a temporary service or something. I don't know, but it's just something that I
We're
want
just
to bring
helping
to the
them
board.
know how to connect better to not do that. And
Yeah.
They were overloaded.
if they're overloading or days.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have all those concessions people up and everybody had,
Right.
five
extension cords and
They
five
did.
heaters and fans and everything else. And so, again, maybe we can, just
Right.
help them out or say, here's what you need to do or whatever. I'm not saying that we
Okay.
solve the problem for them, but just let them know.
Okay.
Now my plug, okay? Pink Arrow, this 17th, this coming Thursday, will be the community day over on the Riverwalk, and looking for your blood. So donate your blood. Every pint of blood that is attempted, $10 goes to Gilda's Club. And if you've been reading the Ledger, you've read some of those perseverance stories, and they're pretty moving. I know that it was in the thing, but I want to thank Mark and the guys. We're going to start putting up the banners Monday morning at 6 and Tuesday morning on one side and the next. And also, we're bringing in a portable generator from Beist out at the Pink, but we're having a professional singer come in, Dave Bray, and we're gonna probably need, I don't know if we've got more cable, more wire, we're gonna have to get from the generator to where we're gonna put some stage, and I'll get with you, Ryan, for some help there. Then the other thing that just came to mind when somebody said, yeah, you're our best customer, using all those lights. I would like us to look at helping support or doing a low light and power Christmas decoration, and the winner gets their month power bill paid for, or whatever the case may be. But again,
I'll have to
it's-
run that by Dick Webb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but again, I
I
think
like that.
we could,
the judge.
we could also
Yeah.
be in, help out
Right.
in
It's a
getting
cool idea.
Christmas, that whole Christmas
Uh-huh.
thing at
Mhm.
Christmas
I
time.
like that idea.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's,
And with the blood drive, it's nice, the $10, but it also will help 3 people save their lives by giving that blood as well, so.
yeah, I mean,
Twofold.
so on Thursday, it'll be, free lunch, hot dogs on the grill, free dinner before the concert. There'll be, health, groups over there. Ladies can sign up. Spectrum is going to have their mammography bus there, to do that, you have to sign up ahead of time, but again, it'd be local. So it's a great day, and it's the start of kicking off the whole Pink Arrow. It's the first time you can buy your shirts. Shirts are your ticket in.
Okay.
Get your
What's the date? Is that September
September 8th.
8th? Okay,
8th,
great.
And
I
that will
thought I
be
had it down right.
against East Grand Rapids.
Mother-in-law.
Football game.
And it's the 10th.
It's the 10th year.
Wow.
Volleyball and boys soccer.
Wow.
We'll all be on, and we're looking for biggest event West Michigan scene in
Wow.
high school football. So
It will be. It really
That's
will
awesome.
be.
Yep.
with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.